This is chapters 8 through 11 of 2 Samuel. Chapter 8 is all about David pursuing all the surrounding areas and the enemies of Israel. David starts with defeating the Philistines and subduing them. He took Metheg Ammah and he took control of the Philistines there. The Moabites were next, and he laid them all on the ground one by one and took a cord, and every two, the length of two, he would strike down. So they became subject to him as well, the Moabites. David then defeated Hadadezer, the king of Zobah, and he restored a monument at the Euphrates River of himself, King David. David captured thousands of chariots and thousands of charioteers and tens of thousands of foot soldiers. The Armenians of Damascus, they hear about this and they come to help. They came to help Hadadezer, the king of Zobah. And David struck down 22,000 of them. He put garrisons all in the Armenians' kingdom, all throughout. And they became subject to him and brought him tribute. All this, the Lord was helping David win these battles. David took all the gold shields from the officers of Hadadezer, and he brought them back to Jerusalem. Now King 2 of Hamath heard that David had defeated the army of Hadadezer, and he sent his son to meet King David and say his thank yous with many gifts, articles of silver, gold, and bronze, because King 2 and Hadadezer were rivals. They were in conflict. King David dedicated all these articles that he won from battles to the Lord in Jerusalem in the tent of the Lord. He brought all the silver and the gold from all the nations that he subdued, Edom and Moab and the Ammonites and the Philistines, Amalekites. He also dedicated the plunder taken from Hadadezer, and also David became famous at the Valley of Salt for striking down 18,000 Edomites. He put garrisons in Edom, and the Edomites became subject to him as well. The Lord gave David victory wherever he went. David reigned over all Israel, doing what was just and right for all his people. Joab was over the army. Jehoshaphat was the recorder, journalist. Zoda and Ahimelech were the priests. Seraiah was the secretary. Benaniah was a governing presence over couple towns, surrounding towns, and David's sons were priests. This was David's cabinet, officials, advisors, close men around him. That's the end of 8. Chapter 9 starts with David asking, is there anyone still left in Jonathan's household that I can bless? He's missing Jonathan, his brother, who was slain at Mount Gilboa in 1 Samuel. And he searches for servants who will know. There was a servant of Saul's house named Zippah, and they summoned him towards David, and he asked, is there anyone still alive from Jonathan's household? Zippah said, there is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet. He is in the house of Machir, son of Amiel, in Lo Debar. So King David sends for Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son. Mephibosheth came down and bowed before David, the king. Mephibosheth said, at your service. King David said, do not be afraid, for I will surely show kindness to you for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table. I am going to bless your life more than you can imagine. Mephibosheth bowed down and said, what is your servant that you should notice a dead dog like me? He's lame by both feet. Then King David summoned Ziba and said to him, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring the crops, so that your master's grandson may be provided for. And Mephibosheth, grandson of your master, will always eat at my table." And Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants, and he goes to farm the land for Mephibosheth. "Your servant will do whatever my lord the king commands him to do." So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah, and all the members of Ziba's household were servants to Mephibosheth, and Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate at the king's table. He was lame at both feet. That's the end of chapter 9. In chapter 10, David defeats the Ammonites. The king of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanan succeeded the king. And David thought, "I will show my kindness to Hanan." So David sent delegation to express his sympathy to Hanan concerning his father. When David's men went to the land of the Ammonites, the Ammonite commanders of Hanan, they did not trust David's men. "Do you think David is honoring your father by sending envoys to you to express sympathy? Question. Hasn't David sent them to you only to explore the city and to spy it out and overthrow it?" So Hanan seized David's envoys, shaved off half of their beards, cut off their garments at the buttocks, and sent them away. When David was told about this, he sent messengers to meet the men, for they were greatly humiliated. And David told the men, "Stay at Jericho till your beards grow back." When the Ammonites realized how obnoxious they were to David, they hired 20,000 Armenian foot soldiers and 1,000 men from Makkah, and also 12,000 from Tob. On hearing this, David sent Joab and his fighting men, and the Ammonites came out and drew up for battle in the formation of the entrance of the city gate. When the Armenians came in, and the men of Tob and Makkah with them in the open country, Joab saw the battle lines in front of him and behind him, and he selected some of the best troops of Israel to deploy them against the Armenians. He put the rest of the men under the control of Abishai, his brother, and deployed them against the Ammonites. Joab said, "If the Ammonites are too strong for me, then you are to come to my rescue. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, then I will come to your rescue. Be strong, and let us fight bravely for our people in the city of God. The Lord will do what is good in his sight." A lot of confidence in the commander's voice, Joab. Joab and his brother defending off 3 different battle lines. Thousands of troops. Then Joab and the troops with him advanced and fought the Armenians, and they fled before them. And when the Ammonites realized that the Armenians were fleeing, they fled before Abishai and went into the city. So Joab returned from fighting the Ammonites and came to Jerusalem. After the Armenians saw that they had been routed by Israel, they regrouped. King Hadadezer had the Armenians brought from beyond the Euphrates River, and they were sent to Halam. When David was told about this, he gathered all of Israel, crossed the Jordan, and went to Halam. The Armenians formed their battle lines to meet David and fought against him, but they fled before Israel, and David killed 700 of their charioteers and 40,000 of their foot soldiers. He also struck down Shabak, the commander of his army, and he died there. When all the kings who were vassals of Hadadezer saw that they had been routed by Israel, they made peace with the Israelites and became subject to them. So the Armenians were afraid to help the Ammonites anymore. That's the end of chapter 10. Chapters 11 through 13 are next. And this is David and Bathsheba and his great sin against the Lord.